You're listening to The Alex Jones Show.
Welcome back. Final segment with Sheriff Joe Arpio, one of the most embattled individuals in modern history, a true fighter. Even if you disagree with his policies, you got to admire how focused he is, how dedicated his energy. But then you actually study his real policies. He's a great guy. You see what the media says about him. It's total crap. I see stuff in the news all the time I never said. Hillary's killing kids in the basement of a pizza place. There's no video, there's no audio. They just make it up, cobble it together. Notice a lot of times you watch the news, so-called news, you'll see audio of me, but not the show that's also TV. Because they can edit the audio, folks, and it's just so frustrating. And I told people I'm going to start suing folks. That was my next question for Sheriff Joe Arpio, who's in a dead heat for the Republican primary there to be running for Senate, which is so important right now with them trying to get enough votes to impeach the president. Because a lot of Republican establishment folks, they're saying might actually go with an impeachment if we lose the midterms in 2018 and just a seat or two could be key. So could it be Trump that saved Arpio from a fraudulent investigation and then Arpio saves Trump? That tends to be the way destiny works. But regardless, I don't go to the audience and bitch at you and say, hey, do more, buy more products, spread the articles, thank our affiliates more. I know you're doing a lot, but we're all in a fight. So everybody needs to seriously go to Sheriff Joe for America.com, SheriffJoeForAmerica.com, and they need to donate, and they need to volunteer, and they need to get involved because in the polls, he's either ahead or neck and neck, but you know they're going to have people voting in the names of dead people. You know they get the illegals and hop them all up and tell them he's the enemy just because he's for law and order, and they're going to try to vote against him, and there's serious fraud in Arizona. So we need to get him 5, 10, 15 points ahead to even have a chance of winning like Trump did, which we can do if you take action. But this isn't about shooting our mouths off. It's about doing it. Sheriff Joe Arpio, what can we do to make sure you win this primary?
Well, just what you're doing now, Alex. Appreciate it, putting that word out and motivating my base. I never lost a Republican primary. Even in the last election, I won by 40% on the Republican primary. So I have strong support across the state. I've had that for years and years, and I want to thank all the people in other counties for always supporting me. Not that they could vote for me and so on, but I've been giving speeches constantly, not only there, but recently across the nation, and I've been doing that, helping the Republican Party. When Donald Trump ran, you remember way back in June of 15, he announced, and he came here for his first rally in July 2015. I introduced him. You couldn't get any politics to get on a stage, but I did. I never met him prior to that. I liked what I heard, and I said he will be the next president, and he is. He made it, and I'll tell you, I don't go against people that I endorse. I stick with them to the bitter end, especially President Trump. I'm with him to the bitter end. I don't like to say bitter. It's going to be a successful end. But you know what I'm talking about.
Like Churchill said, we're going to defend our island, whatever the cost may be. We're going to go on to the end, and we'll never surrender.
Yeah, I don't surrender either. And I talked to my wife. We've been married 60 years. 2 weeks ago. I'm not forgetting that. I'm trying to get the time span. Just about 2 weeks ago. Talked to her about running. She's tough, too. This isn't easy for her. But I'm doing it not for just the president. I'm doing it for our country. I'm doing it for Arizona. You know, we had 2 senators here, and they're not good friends of the president. Well, I'm going to go to Washington, and I'm not going to rubber stamp everything he does. But I'll tell you one thing, I'm never going to go against him, even after he makes a decision. I may not agree with it, but he's still the commander-in-chief. He still runs his country. I still support the people of Arizona. And if there is a disagreement, I will talk to the people of Arizona and let them know what the president is doing. So but I can't go back against him. It's not in my style.
Well, sure. And I mean, Flake is a Democrat, a backstabber. He's a total joke. And I feel sorry for folks who have the name Flake, but if the name fits, if the shoe fits, a flake by any other name is still a flake. You got these flaky rhinos. And again, what you've done versus what they said about you, all the fights, the fact that you're committed to do this just is all the more reason for everybody to get involved. And imagine how angry they're going to be if you end up being the guy that takes Flake's seat, and you are so incredibly close.
Well, you know, I'm going there for the people of Arizona. I'm not part of what they call the establishment. You know, I get along with everybody. Even in foreign countries, I got along with.
Yeah, but the establishment is anti-American globalist. So just because you're not anti-government, you're pro-American government, but you are anti-globalist.
Yeah, and by the way, not just law enforcement. I love what the president's policies are, whether it's the patriotism, the economy, how he speaks out. Because when you speak out, it's a deterrence. That's why illegal immigration has gone down. Because I've been through all this. He went out public and he told everybody, "You come across the border, you're going to get locked up." Well, that's a big deterrence when the president is saying that. So maybe they're not coming across the border because they know. He said you're going to be locked up.
Exactly. Let's expand on that. Who would think 11 months and 21 days into the presidency, we'd have a 25,000 stock market, 3.3% growth rate, 2 million new jobs, the biggest startups ever, the lowest black unemployment ever. And I try to tweet lowest black unemployment numbers ever. Twitter blocks it. I mean, the censorship is insane.
That's sad. That is very sad, and it's very, you know, when they talk about the president's polls, which nobody should believe.
Exactly.
You know how they're stacking the deck. But what about Congress? They're way lower than the president. What about the media? They're way down there. I guess car salesmen get the same type of.
Well, you know what it is, Joe? There's a lot of cowards that when they get called or get a poll sent to them, they don't want to say they support Trump because they think it might hurt them. But they have the computer bots on these apps mainly. And we knew before the election Trump was 15 points ahead, according to Silicon Valley. That's why they were panicking so hard. There was even articles about it that he was 15 points ahead. And that, I mean, look at all the evidence of fraud versus, and I'm not getting into all whether Moore was good or bad. The point was Judge Roy Moore, they said he was 15 points behind, but he lost by half a point. And then they had all these Democrats on video saying, we came here to vote. We came here to, I mean, they're admittedly in fraud.
Yeah, I'm a little suspicious of what happened to me with, this billionaire, George Soros, pumped in over $3.5 million against me in 30 days. Come on. The Justice Department, the day before early voting, before a judge who would not give me a bench trial on this misdemeanor, said they're going to charge me. 2 weeks later, they charged me with a misdemeanor, said I'm going to go to prison for 6 months. Think of that. In the midst of an election, people voting, violation of the Department of Justice guidelines, they hit me. Why didn't they do it a little earlier? They've been after me since Obama took office, 60 days. So after all these years, they end up getting me on a contempt of court because a judge who has his bias threw it over to have a criminal investigation. Think of that.
Unbelievable.
But that's okay. I'm going to Washington. I'm going to straighten a lot of things out. If they don't put me on any committees, okay, I'll form my own committees. So we'll see what happens.
And that's what the president's going to do in 6 days with his fake news awards. We're just taking the narrative back. And, they censor us off everything else. We just create our own systems.
That's right. And once again, the president knows what he's doing. I think that's what really scares everybody. That's why they keep going after him.
Yeah, they're saying he's an idiot and mentally ill and all this. Yeah, well, that's the case. We need more of that. SheriffJoeForAmerica.com. And we hope people go and donate and support. And we'll track as you go. I got a gut feeling you're going to win if people get behind you. But regardless, you're going to inject real ideas. And I got to say it. I mean, we got to admire fighters. Compare Sheriff Joe to these millennials. A lot of them are great folks, but just so entitled, so lazy. This fella, for his country, fighting super hard and sharper than, 20-year-olds out there when he's 80-plus years old. I don't say that as a bad thing. It's a positive thing. And we're very, very proud of you, Sheriff Joe, for everything you've done and letting them attack you and lie about you. We really appreciate you.
Thank you. Thanks, Alex.